everyone, and welcome to the Mixtape Podcast, a podcast dedicated to deconstructing films that we and you love from a screenplay writer's perspective. I will be your host, Dean Stark, and I am joined by one of my favorite nerdy people on the planet, Marcelo Inostroza. So this week, we have a movie that I've actually never seen before. It is Ready Player One. It was released in 2018 and it was directed by Steven Spielberg. So, as always, Marcelo, why did you choose, out of all of the Steven Spielberg goodness that you could have picked, why this movie?
I picked this movie because I think that first of all, it's an amazing movie. Second of all, it centers around gamers, but third of all, it really asks some serious questions about our society and where we're going if we don't make certain corrections to our behavior and the way that we consume media. But that is just the oversimplification why I picked this movie. But the real reason that I picked this movie is it's a really fun Spielberg movie, and I would love to talk to you about it. But I had no idea when I picked this that you'd never seen it before. I only figured that out a couple of days ago, so it'll be very interesting to hear your viewpoint on this movie with you being a gamer.
Yeah. So one more question before we start. What is your favorite Steven Spielberg directed movie of all time? Which one is it?
Oh my Lord.
Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of doozies.
Yeah, oh my God. That is really hard. I mean, I mean, if I had a gun to my head to save my life, I would say Jurassic Park. But I'm actually gonna go sort of a little bit against the grain a little bit. There's a movie that Steven Spielberg did, I believe in '95, called Amistad. And I don't know what it is.
Wow. Yeah.
Check this out. I don't know what it is about that movie, but every time I see it, it just connects with me and it just transports me in a certain way. I'm not saying that Saving Private Ryan does. I'm not saying that Hook does. But it's something about that movie that just calls out to me. And I've never been able to explain why. I mean, it's not a conventional choice when you think of your favorite Spielberg movie, but Amistad is my favorite Spielberg movie, and I don't know why.
Wow. I thought for sure you'd say Jaws. I 100% thought you would say Jaws or E.T. Wow. I like to be shocked. I love being shocked and surprised. So, yeah. So, mine would... Amistad, it's a great movie, though. It's a great movie. But really random coming from you. I like it. I like randomness. So my favorite Spielberg directed movie, I mean, there's a lot. Like you said, like Jurassic Park is up there. But my favorite would have to be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That would have to be my all-time favorite Spielberg movie. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's the best. I know people like Raiders, but Temple of Doom is the best.
The great thing about Temple of Doom is it takes the Indiana Jones formula and flips it on the head. And essentially what Temple of Doom is, it's a awful, it's almost like a horror movie. I mean, there are things in it that are like horror movies. I mean, it's amazing. I love it for its darkness, but it also has light in it. That's what Spielberg is really, really good at.
Yes. All right. So now that we've deviated enough, let's get back to Ready Player One. So when the creator of a Let's start that again. When the creator of a virtual reality game dies, he hides the keys to his fortune within the game, hoping a worthy player will find it. Now, just the premise of this movie, I was like, why have I not seen this before? Like, I feel like this would be a movie I would be like totally into. So I was like I was quite excited to watch it when I sort of like when the movie started. So the opening scene, it says Columbus, Ohio, 2045. And I love movies that are in the future if they're done right. But I was like, okay, cool. And we're in a place called the Stacks. So the Stacks, the easiest way I can describe it is it's like trailers on top of trailers on top of trailers. And in between is like is like rickety staircases. I mean, can you describe it what it is? The Stacks, in case people haven't seen the movie?
No, I think that's a great description of the stacks. The only thing that I would say is they look like motorhomes stacked on
Mm.
top of one another, balanced by beams. But you also have to acknowledge that the area around the stacks is basically one big giant kind of a junkyard kind of a deal. So right
Oh yeah,
away,
Junkyard.
so right away, Spielberg takes this movie by the throat, and he really does a great job of directing, because when we actually see the first opening shot and we actually meet our character Wade or Percival, Spielberg does a oneer from 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 the point that Wade enters the stacks to when he goes to his van, which is a really cool location that we'll talk about, to when he actually enters the Oasis. So I really love that Spielberg really opened this movie with a bang visually.
Yeah, visually, it looks stunning. And this, okay, sometimes movies um, put music in a movie and it works, and sometimes it doesn't. So the opening scene to this movie is, we're in the stacks. It's the poor district. We're introduction to Wade, which is our main protagonist. He lives on the top, and you just see him making his way down to the bottom. And there are people in their trailers, and everybody's got a VR headset on, so nobody's actually like living in reality. And I thought this was really. I'll get back to the music thing. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back. So I thought this was really cool. There was a Pizza Hut pizza that was delivered by a drone, and I was like, that's like kind of what's going to happen. I feel like with reality, but I feel like that was really cool. So anyway, he goes to his beat up old van. He opens it up, and it's like a poor man's gaming console thing. Like he's got all this stuff set up, but he's poor. He doesn't have money. Um, so the reason I'm circling back to the music, so the song that was overlaying through all that is a song called Jump by Van Halen. I love this song. I adore this song, but it didn't work for the beginning. And to be honest, this movie has an amazing soundtrack. It has an 80s soundtrack, 70s, 80s, which is like my favorite genre of music. I mean, every single song is fucking banging in this movie, but I feel like none of them worked. I don't feel like this movie, because it was set
None
in
of them worked.
1920. No, I feel like
Are
it
you
because it was
serious?
set in
Oh, okay.
2045. Yeah, really weird, right? Because I love the
I
music, but I
okay.
just maybe it was the scenes that they put them over. I don't know. The only song that worked was when they're in the nightclub and Saturday Night Fever came on by the Bee Gees. That's the only one that worked because of the scene. But I just feel like
uh,
they just put it in just to
uh,
put it in. It was weird.
oh well, hell, I vehemently disagree with you on that, and I'm going to actually bring it back up when we actually get to the point where I think that this movie used a song to great effect. But we have to get there before I talk about it.
Yeah, I am really going to enjoy this discussion because I feel like you and I are at different ends with this movie. So it's going to be a really fun
Yeah, it'll
discussion.
be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, but like I said, the soundtrack is fucking awesome. I want to say that it was released in 2000. I want to say that they tried to do Guardians of the Galaxy, but in Guardians of the Galaxy, the 80s music worked. It worked on every single level, but in this one, I feel like it didn't work. But anyway, let's move past the music. Let's move past. Let's move past. Um, so anyway, he's in his beat up old van, and he starts saying that there's the creator of a virtual reality world that everyone uses to escape from reality, James Halliday, and the VR world is called the OASIS. Um, so, one question for you: Do you now? Look, I just found out recently this was based on a book. Do you like the name Oasis for the VR world that or do you feel like they could have chosen another name? But do you think Oasis is like a fitting name for the VR reality that they're all into?
I thought it was something that was memorable. I thought it was something that stood out. I honestly can't think of another name that I would have called it. The only thing that I would have called it was like, like central control, but that's lame. It doesn't pop like maybe I would have called it the feed or something like that. But again, that's lame. The Oasis is a name that pops, and it's a catchy name. So I thought it was a good choice, and I if I had to change it, I wouldn't know what I would call it.
Yeah, I actually really like the name Oasis. I think it encompasses everything that the VR world is. Like it is an oasis. So I really, really like that name. So now we go into the Oasis. So he puts on the VR headset, we go into it. And he basically says the Oasis is only limited by your own imagination. So whatever you can imagine, you can create in this world. Like there are no limits. And I was like, oh, well that's cool, yet slightly dangerous, but that's quite cool. You can do anything, you can go anywhere. And so now, here's another question. I'm going to have questions for you throughout this whole thing. You get to create your own avatar, right? So Wade's avatar, which is Percival, I don't know why he would create an avatar of a 5'6" boy looking skinny man. If you can create any avatar, that's who he creates. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit, I don't know. I liked his avatar that he created, but I thought, really? You're not going to create someone that's like 6'3", muscly, like someone that's like opposite to you? I don't know. It was a bit weird. But 2 questions. One, did you like his avatar? Did you think he could have done a better job? And the second question is, what would your avatar be?
I actually think he chose right with his avatar, because Wade is trying to of course hide from the world, just like everybody is in this movie. But Wade isn't a person. Wade, I don't believe, is a person that is that dislikes himself so much that he changes the idea of what he would look like in the digital world. Wade is just a person that is lonely, but Wade is not a person that seems to hate himself, or that is like clinically depressed. I feel that a clinically depressed person would go and create an avatar that was nothing like them, because they would want to escape from everything that they are.
I agree. 100% I agree. Yep. Keep going.
Now with my avatar, if I could
Tell me.
if I,
Tell me.
yeah, if I could pick anybody.
If you could, if you could pick anybody, or if you could design your own avatar, like what would you look like? Like obviously you can be like Captain America or Thor or whatever, but like you can pick one of those, or you can design your own.
No, actually, I would just make myself a little bit taller, because I am on the small side, and I would probably give myself like a robotic arm, like a robotic, left arm, and then yeah, I would just be a normal person with nerdy gear and nice weapons and shit like that. I wouldn't like turn myself into like a superhero, because I feel it wouldn't be necessary in the Oasis. I could just keep going to battle royales and keep collecting credits and killing fools. I don't need to. I don't feel the need to hide myself, because like Wade, I'm lonely, but I'm not. But I am not clinically depressed.
Yeah, you don't hate who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good answer. My answer is slightly different. I'll explain why. So I was thinking about it. I'm like, what avatar would I have if I could have any avatar? Now, the avatar I'm about to tell you, it's not because I hate myself. It's not because, I don't like what I look like. It's because this specific avatar embodies everything that I kind of want to be, but that it's just not in me. Like, it's just not me. It's like an actor taking a role, because it's so different to them. They kind of just want to try it on. Like, how does it feel to do this? And how does it feel to do that? You'll laugh at who I'm picking. So if I could choose any avatar, I would choose Harley Quinn. because I have always wanted to be that sultry, seductive, sexy, flirty, nut job, crazy. You know, people just look at her and they're like, oh yeah, just let her go. She's fucking crazy. I've always wanted to be no limits, take risks, don't give a fuck. And obviously, like, I'm not and I can't. So I would 100% choose Harley Quinn. Are you surprised?
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. You know why that doesn't surprise me at all?
Why?
Because I mean, you'll get this, but our audience won't, but that's okay. I've asked you to do one thing forever and ever and ever. I'll never do it. And if you do, you'll never do it. I'm sorry. And if you do it one day, it'll be on my deathbed. But I've always said, when I see Harley Quinn on screen now, for whatever reason, I just hear your voice in my head when Harley's talking.
Oh my god.
So if anybody can be Harley Quinn, it's you. But I want to clarify. When I say I hear your voice, when I say I hear your voice in my head when I see Harley, I'm like, I hear your voice rewriting her dialogue in my head.
Oh.
I don't.
Oh my god.
I don't see Harley Quinn. I don't see Harley Quinn, and I don't see Harley Quinn and hear your voice coming out of Harley Quinn. I just imagine you rewriting her dialogue as she talks.
Oh my god, I would love to write I think I would write such awesome dialogue for Harley Quinn. Like, yeah, not that her dialogue in like movies and TV shows thus far hasn't been good. It has been good, but I think it would be a lot of fun to do that. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so he's as Percival in the Oasis, and now he's trying to find his friend H, and he finds him playing like a God of War game, and he kind of looks like the character from God of War. If anybody knows that game, if you don't, Google it. I'm not explaining it. That's what he looks like. And he finds his friend, and then we get a little bit of push, like story push. So we learn that James Halliday, the one that created the game, he's died, and he leaves a message saying he left an Easter egg in the game, and whoever in Oasis, and whoever finds it will inherit all of his stocks, like millions of dollars, and have total control over Oasis. He's hidden 3 keys to test your worthiness. And I loved this because it was a game trick. Like, it's a gaming thing, and I was like, oh, and like honestly, like this movie so far, I was like, I'm into it. Like I'm totally into it. So my question to you is, if you were in Oasis, like if you were an avatar in Oasis, would you attempt to get the 3 keys, or would you just like, oh, I can't be bothered, fuck it, I'm just gonna live my life?
Hell yeah, I would attempt to get the 3 keys. Not to make my, well, who am I lying? Of course I would try to attempt to get the 3 keys. I don't know how far I would get, but I would try to do it, definitely. And if you think about it, this quest, the Oasis, you know what it is, right, guys? And this is the beauty thing about it. It's a giant multiplayer. The whole movie is like you are playing a giant multiplayer and doing various campaigns with your friends. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now we skip to the next scene, and Wade is talking. We're still in the game. He's as Percival, sorry, and he's basically saying to win the first key is a car race, but this is 5 years later, 5 years after James Halliday has died. He's saying that even after 5 years, nobody has managed to finish this race, and everybody's trying, and you have to finish it to get the key. And so you're kind of wondering, why can nobody finish this race? Like, it seems a bit weird. So anyway, we're at the car race, and it's a cool scene because it's all CG, it's all in the game. Parsifal drives a DeLorean, which is cool. Throughout this entire movie, there's like every single pop culture, gaming, and movie reference you could imagine. Like, you could watch this movie 10 times and still be finding like pop culture references like in the background and like off to the side. Like they've put a lot of stuff into it, which I thought was really, 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 really fucking cool. So anyway, they're in the car race. Artemis is in the car race, and he turns to his side and he sees a chick on a motorcycle. And he's like, oh, I know that girl. It's Artemis. And apparently she's like she's a famous gamer. I don't know if everybody knows her, but he definitely knows her. So anyway, they're on the car race and all the cars have kind of been blown up, gone off the race, and Parsifal's the only one there, right? So he's approaching the finish line. You're like, oh, he's going to finish. Right before he gets to the finish line, this massive King Kong like rises up from the ground, and basically I think he has to jump out of the car, and then King Kong fucking smashes his car. And so you realize, oh, that's why people can't finish the race, because right at the end, like nobody can get past King Kong. And then Artemis comes right behind him with the motorcycle. Parsifal grabs her off the motorcycle because King Kong has like gone. Right, he like pops up when there's a car there, and he grabs her off the motorcycle, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then her motorcycle kind of keeps going forward, and then King Kong comes up and smashes her motorcycle, and she's like, oh, is that it? So I have an issue with this, and this is the first thing that came into my head. So in the beginning, Wade says the only limit is your imagination in this game. So I would pose to you, if the only limit is your imagination, why hasn't somebody thought of making their car invisible, so then King Kong never pops up because he doesn't see the car, and then you could win the race? Wouldn't that be like simple?
Yeah, it would be simple, but I would imagine that James Holiday thought about that and made some modification to the game that in only games related to the hunt, there are certain things that people can't build with certain abilities, and invisibility is one of them.
It would have been nice if it showed somebody trying to make their car invisible and then just like not doing it, because that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, just make the car invisible. Why does somebody do that? But anyway, the car race is really kick-ass. It's really cool. So anyway, Artemis's bike is damaged, and Percival says, I'm going to take it to H. H can repair it. So they go to his like shop. He's like a mechanic thing, goes to his shop thingy, and he fixes it. He looks at it, he's like, I'll fix it in 10 minutes. Like, H is a really cool character. I like H, and I like H in the real world as well. When we find out like what he really looks like, I felt like H was like my favorite character. So anyway, he's talking about the race, and he says nobody makes it past King Kong. Like in 5 years, nobody's figured out how to make it past King Kong. But he said, you know, if you just put the pedal to the metal and you drive towards King Kong and he like grabs you, like you don't die, obviously, because it's a VR game, but you do something called you zero out, which means you lose all your stats. And it's like when you die in a game, and imagine you're playing like Resident Evil, you're on the last boss level and the boss kills you, and you restart the game and you have no guns, you have no ammunition, you have no stats, you have nothing. So I think people are a little bit scared to try new things because they don't want to lose their stats. Go for it. You want to say something? I'll take it back.
I think I love this fact. I love the way that this game, the way that this movie is ingrained in video game culture. You know, I love that if you grew up playing video games as a kid, there are so many things in here to enjoy, to being shot by your best friend by accident, to being this close to getting a goal and then having it tossed away by some idiot that you've never seen before, or having a rivalry with somebody who's actually fucking 12 and that is so good at the game that makes you feel like shit. But the one thing that I will say about this movie very, very quickly, before Dean continues to push us forward, I love the way that Steven Spielberg directs the opening race. His direction is so amazing. It's not flat. It's kinetic. It flows with the action. It seems that everything that happens flows into the next and flows into the next. So this movie has a great pace to it. Also, I love the fact that when Percival takes Artemis back to H's workshop, Percival is obsessed with showing Artemis H's stuff. And I love when H says, "Dude, this is not even your stuff. Why are you showing it off?" I love how I love how awkward and how nervous Percival is. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, that is a funny scene. He's like, "This is not your stuff. This is my stuff," and like Percival just like completely ignores him. Um, yeah, the way that the car race scene was directed was beautiful. I mean, it just flowed. It was fantastic. It wasn't boring. It was just like you were in it. It's like you were in the fucking car race. And yeah, the shots that they used. I mean, obviously it's CG. They can use more diverse shots than they probably could if they were doing it in real life. But yeah, the only thing I would disagree with you on is, although this is in a virtual reality game and there were some things, some gamey things, for the most part, and for the most of the movie, I didn't feel like it was anything that I could connect with game wise. Like, for example, Existence, if people have listened to our thing review on Existence, that had more gamey things in it, like the non-playable characters, and you have to collect things, you have to get things, and you have to you know what I mean? That had more gamey things in it that I could connect with than this game did. I really didn't find many things that I was like, oh yeah, that's a gaming thing. Like, I didn't find a lot. I don't know. But in saying that, I don't play online. I don't play multiplayer online. So I think that might have been what the problem was and how I like couldn't connect with it. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, so now we're back in the real world, and we get some backstory on Wade. Now he was cast really well. I don't know who the actor is, but he was cast really well because he's cute in a nerdy way. And you kind of connect with him straight away. And now we find out his mum and dad died when he was young, and he's living with his aunt and in the trailer park. And when he goes back to the trailer, you know, his aunt's boyfriend is a dick. You know, he's abusive. He treats him like shit, and his aunt doesn't stand up for him. And so it makes you like, you connect with him. You feel sorry for him. And I find it funny that his bed is on a washer and a dryer. I mean, it would lull you to sleep from the vibration, but I just thought that's actually a really ingenious kind of thing to put in there. I've never seen that before. Someone's so poor that their bed is on a washer and dryer. I thought that was so cool. What did you think about like the little bit of backstory we got on Wade?
I think it was great. I think it was great. Wade, Wade, I think, missed all of the era of the world being in disarray and the world trying to fix its problems. And it's really a shame that because of the things that civilization did to itself, Wade lives in a world where people have stopped trying to fix things and are just trying to outlive the bad things. The sort of sad thing about this movie is that this movie is not too far off from where we are now. If certain things don't happen in the next 70 years, I could see a world where there is a game that we use to escape the problems of our actual reality, and it's actually terrifying in that way.
I think I was like 10 or 15 minutes into the movie, and I told Marcelo, I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to go with this. Like, my brain likes it because it's gamey and it's fun and it's got cool music and all that. But my soul is like, this is not good because PlayStation right now are already bringing out VR headsets. Like, you know what I mean? It's already coming. And I'm like, fuck, this isn't good. So I was in two minds about it. I was like, it's a good movie. I like it. I'm enjoying it. But I know this is the way it's going to go. And it's just, I don't know. It kind of just hurts my soul. But anyway, so now we're back in the OASIS and we're with Parsifal, which is Wade's avatar, and he visits something called the Halliday Journals. Like, it's like a library museum of every single memory that James Halliday, the creator of Oasis, has ever had, which I think is really, I thought that was really cool. Like, I was like, oh, that's mad. And it's all holographic. It's like basically watching a movie of somebody's memories, and you can pick any memory you want. So if you go, you know, fucking 2009 September, you know, Tuesday 12:45, like you'll see what he was doing at that time. Like, it's just really fucking bizarre. I liked it though. So we see scenes from his life, and there's someone called the curator, and I don't know how to describe him. He kind of looks robotic, kind of, but he wears like a suit on top. I don't know. How would you describe the curator of the Halliday Library?
He looks like a robotic butler.
Oh yeah, that's that's exactly what he looks like.
You know, with a British accent. But
Yeah.
but the first time I saw this movie, I couldn't believe when I figured out who the butler was. But I'll say that for later. But I think it's really cool that at this point in time, as awful as society is in this movie, you are physically able to somehow download your mental consciousness and feed that into a VR system, and then the VR system makes a hologram of your memories. That is so fucking cool, advanced,
that's cool.
and terrifying.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Like, look, when I'm dead and gone, people are gonna have a million episodes of podcasting and a million episodes of video content. But to have something like this when your loved ones pass away, where you can actually walk into their memories, it's like walking into a giant hologram. I think that would just be amazing.
Yeah, so this is off topic, but it's like you say, yeah, bringing it back around. So I think that's a really cool concept. So what they've got now, I can't remember what country. I think it's in Ireland. I don't quote me on that. I don't know. But what they're doing is in cemeteries, they're putting QR codes on the tombstones. Now, if you don't know what a QR code is, it's something that it's a little barcode that you put your phone up to, and it scans it, and it takes you to a website or a photo, whatever it is. So they have these tombstones with the QR codes. So if you're walking through a cemetery and you scan a QR code, you actually can see this person's life, who they were, what they did, if they had, do you know what I mean? And I think that is so cool. Like, it's same, but it's different, but like, it's what we've got for now. But I think that that's really cool. You can see like somebody's life, how they lived, who they were, like what they did, what they contributed. And I think that is, do you think that's cool? I think that's cool.
Yeah, because in a way, when you die, you are immortalized. You'll be around forever, which is, again, scary, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Wade is talking to the curator. He goes, take me to this specific scene. And the curator's like, you've seen this scene 1,000 times. He's like, yeah, well, I want to see it again. And the curator's like, all right. So he takes him down a hallway, and then a screen starts playing of a scene from Halliday's life. And he watches it and he's like, oh, no, he's trying to find a clue to beat the race. The issue I have with this scene is why he picks this specific memory. It's never like, I don't know. He just, I guess, has a feeling. But again, the curator says, you've seen this, and let's not forget, it's been 5 years since James Halliday has died. So he's obviously been here for the last 5 years. And so I don't know why he picked this clip. I don't know why he has a feeling that there's some information in this. So he watches it and he's like, oh, no, there's nothing. And the curator's like, yeah, I know there's nothing. You've seen this 1,000 times. What are you trying to get out of it? So Parsifal starts to walk away, and then he hears the last bit, which I'm sure he's heard before, but maybe it's just clicking now. I don't know. Where James Halliday says, why can't we go backwards? Put the pedal to the metal. And then it dawns on Wade that this is how he wins the race. I don't know how he thinks this is how he wins the race. I don't know. But then we're at the race. Wade's in the car, and the green light goes, and all the other cars go forward, and he does nothing. And Artemis goes forward, but she knows, like, why isn't he, like, she's looking at him in her rearview mirror, and she's like, why isn't he moving? Like, why is he just standing still? And then Wade reverses his DeLorean, and as he because there's a wall, right? As he reverses, there's a ramp that goes down, and this is actually a really, really awesome scene where he's going backwards on a track, but he's actually underneath the actual track. So he can see everybody above racing. He can see all the obstacles, all the monsters that come out. He can see everything, but he's underneath everybody. And I was like, that's so freaking cool. So he's going backwards. And then he sees King Kong come up. But obviously he comes up to the people that are racing, and he just slides right by him because he's underneath him. And then he passes the race, and he gets I thought this was really cool, and this is just like a me thing. When he gets out of the car and he walks in this garden, it actually looks like Central Park, and it looks like the Bethesda fountain, which is like my favorite thing in New York in Central Park. And I was like, it's not, but it's the same statue. I'm going to go there. I'm going to see it's the same fucking statue. But I was like, oh, that reminds me of Central Park, because like my love for New York is just like unwavering. And then, so he wins the race. What's his name? James Halliday comes up as his avatar, which kind of looks Gandalfish, like, except he's got like a hood, he's got a beard, and he says, "Congratulations, you've won the key." So I love that scene, but I was actually talking to my friend about it yesterday, and he goes, the only issue I have with that scene is the fact that when you play games, when you start a game, usually if you're an actual gamer, you go backwards to see, because usually game designers put stuff behind you that normal game will go, oh, let's just go forward, but you go back. And when you go backwards, when you start a level, there's usually like hidden stuff there. And so his issue was like, why didn't he try going backwards? Because professional gamers, like a lot of them, that's what they do. They go back to see if there's anything hidden, which there usually is. So I didn't think of that, but it's just his thing. But anyway, I've talked enough. What did you feel about that scene?
Well, first I need to say that I think the dialogue that led to Wade having the epiphany to go backwards on the track, that leads to a hidden level beneath the track that ultimately leads to him getting the first key and the first clue. I thought that was very, very clumsy on a screenplay writing standpoint, and the dialogue that they gave James Holiday is just so pointed, and it's so like, oh, this is exposition. It just stuck out. I would have preferred if Wade would have done a little bit more research about Holiday, and he found a secret part of Holiday's life, and the information was there, perhaps on a file or something else.
Yes.
But the whole scene of him going to this memory library and just figuring out what he's really talking about now, when he's seen the thing like 600 fucking times, it was a little bit convenient to me, and a little lazy and a little easy.
Yeah. The one other thing I wanted to bring up to you was when he finishes the race, because there's 3 keys, he gets the key. And there's this huge leaderboard that all the gamers can see. And so his name is number 1 on the leaderboard, and it says he got the key. So everybody knows he got the key, which is probably not a good thing, because then everybody's going to be after him. Not that anybody knows who he is in real life, but that's not the issue. My issue is, it's not an issue. It's basically a question for you, because you've seen this movie more than I have. When he gets the key, there's a little scene that says, oh, I told Artemis, and then she finished the race, and then you see her getting a key, and then H gets a key. And I'm like, I thought there's only 3 keys. Like, once you win the key, why are there other people finishing shouldn't that race be over? I don't understand that.
No, I don't. I don't believe that that Holiday set up the quest like that. I believe that he set up the quest that anybody can get a key. And the person who solves the person that solves his quest at the very end is the winner. But just because you get a key doesn't disqualify other people from getting keys. And also by other people getting keys, it also makes the competition more interesting.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So if like If like 3 people get, then you've got to like race against them to get the next key kind of thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So the next scene is we meet the bad guy for the film. He's played by an Australian actor called Ben Mendelsohn. Aussies will know him. He's been in a lot of Australian stuff. His name is Nolan Sorrento, and he wants the keys. Obviously, there's always someone that wants fucking shit that they can't have. So he wants the keys because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he's actually the head of OASIS. Does he run it? I don't know if he runs it or if he runs an alternative company. I'm not sure about that.
No, he is the head of IOI, which is the company that is in competition with OASIS, and IOI is the second leading software company in the world, and these 2 leading software companies that aren't mentioned besides IOI want the OASIS because they want to soak up their bottom line, and they want to make more money, because if they control OASIS, that means they control everybody.
Right. Okay. Cool. All right, so he enters the game. Now so Ben Mendelsohn, sorry, let's see his real name. Nolan Sorrento just looks like a typical white suit. Like he looks like a nerdy white guy, basically, like 50, 60 years old, however old he is. And he enters the game, and his avatar kind of like Superman-ish. Like he's got that Superman curl, but he's a big guy. I don't know. How do you describe his avatar? I don't know who he looks like.
No, he is Superman. There's no question about it. He is.
Oh, Superman. He is Superman. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
But the cool thing is, he's evil Superman.
Yes, yeah. He's evil Superman.
Yeah, and I just, I just loved it. I mean, I saw this movie in the theater, and when Nolan Sorrento went into the OASIS for the first time, and he came out as evil Superman, I was like, that's nice. That's great. That is just great. As a Superman fan, I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's who I thought he was. I was like, is he Superman? So anyway, he enters the game and he meets someone called IROC, which I didn't really like IROC's character. I thought that they were trying to make him funny, and I didn't find him funny at all. So IROC gives him a weapon, and it's a glowing ball, and it's an impenetrable shield that can only be taken down via a spell. And so you're like, what does he need that for? Like, why does he need something like that? What did you think about the weapon that he gave him?
That is really, it's a really, really cool weapon. And when Sorrento, right? That's his name. I forgot his name all of a sudden.
Yeah, Sorrento.
Yeah. When Sorrento, comes into the OASIS, and IROC gives him this orb, Steven Spielberg and the writers of this film did a wonderful job about telling the audience exactly what kind of individual Sorrento is from his reaction with IROC. The only thing that this motherfucking guy cares about is making bottom line and making his board members happy, because IROC is excited. He's trying to explain to him how powerful this ball is, and it's a spell, and you got to do this. And Sorrento sort of just fucking around with it, playing with it, tossing it aside. You can tell right there that this guy is just a fucking dweeb and an asshole.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good character setup for the bad guy. Like, look, we don't get a lot of grit with him, but I think he's set up enough to be passable as a villain that you don't want to win. So moving on, the next scene, we're still in the OASIS, and we've gone back to the Halliday Journal Library. And we find out, because Parsifal's looking at another memory, we find out that Sorrento, which is the bad guy, was actually an intern for Halliday and was basically treated like an intern, which is not to say that it's badly, but he was just treated like an intern. And so you get more backstory on him, and you go, oh, that's why he's a dick. That's why he has like little man syndrome, because he was treated that way and he's trying to prove that, like, oh, I'm better than that. Because I think in a way he kind of still sees himself as an intern. Like once he gets his hands on Oasis, that's when he'll really, I don't know, love himself, I guess. I don't know. That's what I got from it. Did you get that, or was it something different?
No, you know what, I always viewed Nolan Sorrento as just this weaselly guy wanting power and wanting to please the people that he worked for, which is the shareholders of IOI. I never noticed that he wanted anything deeper, or his character really didn't come off to me as someone who wanted to make himself better.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like he was stock standard villain, but in this movie it worked. You didn't need anything else to motivate him. It worked. I thought anyway. So the next bit of information we get does push the story forward, but I don't know how I feel about it. And I don't even know how to. I'll say what it is, and then you can tell me your thoughts because I'm a bit confused. So we're still watching the Halliday's I don't know, life memory, and we find out Halliday went on a date with someone named Kira, and we don't know much about her, just that he loved her, and I think she married his friend. Is that right? She married his friend?
Yes, that's right.
Right. So she married his friend. So he went on one date with her and he really liked her. And, they went to the movies, and he went to, oh no, he wanted to kiss her, but he never kissed her. And he's talking to his friend about it. And he's like, why didn't you kiss her? I was like, I don't know. So basically he's always loved this girl. Now Kira is dead. She died a couple of years back in the movie. And Parsifal says to the curator, the robot butler, he says Kira is the only time that is mentioned in all of Halliday's memories. It's the only time. And the curator says, no, it's not. And Parsifal says, I bet you all my stats that it is. And so the curator goes, all right, I'll take you on that bet. And so the curator does his little thing and looks up at all the memories, and he goes, oh my God, you're right. Like, this is the only time that Kira is mentioned. And so he gives him a coin. He gives him a quarter, basically. And Parsifal goes, yeah, you can have it. And the curator goes, no. You can have it. And then Artemis is there and she's like, I'll take it. And he's like, no. And then Parsifal goes, fine, I'll take it. I'll take the fucking coin. And he puts it in his pocket. That is significant. That will come back later. That is fucking awesome. So anyway, anything else to say about that before I move on?
Yeah, I think, I think that's an amazing scene, because that scene really, first of all, I love the moment when the curator gives him the coin. And that, ladies and gentlemen, as I affectionately love to start calling on this podcast, that is dropping a hat on the ground. And I love the way that the two writers of this movie picked it up in the end. I liked the idea of, Halliday putting something in his memories that was so obscure, only a person that knew him backwards to forwards could figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, because again, I feel like this information is coming out of nowhere. There was no setup for it. It was like, oh, there's this. That's why I didn't understand it.
Look, although I did like the writers planting that seed there, it would have been nice. I agree with you. It would have been nice if that was sort of hinted at, if we saw Wade doing some research about something that he didn't know, and then Kira's name was mentioned, and then Wade found out that about the whole Kira thing.
Yeah, because to me it was just like, I don't know, it kind of came out of nowhere, kind of like the how to win the race thing. I don't know. So anyway, let's move on to an awesome scene at a nightclub in the game. We're in Oasis. This nightclub is a nightclub of my dreams. It's the nightclub that I always wanted to be a nightclub, because it is fucking awesome. It's like the maddest nightclub. Like I was like, this is the best nightclub fucking ever. I would love to go to that nightclub. IROC is there. IROC is the bad guy that gave Sorrento the fucking weapon. He's there keeping track of Parsifal because Parsifal won the key. And so Sorrento was like, told IROC, keep track of him, because we need to know basically what he knows. So IROC can hear everything he's saying. He's got like I don't know what he's got, but he can super fucking hearing. I don't know. But yeah, so the nightclub plays awesome music, 80s, 70s, and 80s tracks.
It plays doof doof music. Yeah.
No, it plays. Doesn't it play 70s and 80s tracks?
Yeah. But when Personable first walks in, it was playing doof doof music.
Oh, was it? I can't even remember.
Yeah, this is awesome. But go on.
Oh,
by the way, I love the fact that Percival goes in that he sort of puts like a second skin on his avatar, and that skin is the suit from Buckaroo Banzai. I'm like, yeah, that's Buckaroo Banzai, bitch.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, that's an awesome reference to a really, really cool anime thing, Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, okay, it's anime. Yeah, I don't do anime, so I have no idea.
Yeah, no. I don't do anime either. Now, but I just know that because I'm soaked in pop culture. So.
Yeah. So anyway, Wade is just like obsessed with Artemis. He goes to the club with Artemis. And he's like in love with her. So he tells Artemis, my name is Wade in the real life. And she just fucking loses her shit. Don't tell me your real name. Like she just like wigs the fuck out. And I'm like, what? Oh no, we can't do this. He's like, no, I love you. Well, actually before that, there was a really cool scene where they were dancing to Saturday Night Fever, which I actually quite enjoyed. But after that, yeah, she freaks the fuck out. And then SWAT guys come in because IROC's like, oh, his name is Wade. And then obviously he tells Sorrento his real name is Wade. I mean, how many fucking people in the real world are named Wade? Like you know, now he's going to try and track down, who Parsifal's, controller is, which is Wade. SWAT guys come in and they try to grab Wade, and then there's this really cool fight scene between Artemis, Wade, and like all the bad guys. And yeah, so IROC tells Sorrento, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I like that scene. I really like the nightclub scene a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, the nightclub scene is amazing. I kind of don't like how Samantha kind of just Jesus Christ. Oh my God, I called her by her real name in the real world. Rewind. I don't like how Artemis sort of wigs out right away, because although we know that Artemis doesn't go with the system, that she sort of bucks against it, so far as an audience member, we don't know enough to justify Artemis's reaction. But with that being said, in this scene though, the writers kind of do a 180. They sort of give you everything you need to know about the real reason why Artemis reacts in this way in one short dialogue dump. So I can't really, dock them too much for that. I just wish that we knew a little bit more about Artemis before this scene happened.
Yeah, because we literally know nothing about her. So it was like her wigging out. Like, I guess you kind of understand later on when you see her in the real world, but still, like, I just didn't understand. And we didn't know enough about her even when we kind of did meet her. Anyway, yeah. Sorry,
I do want to mention one more cool thing. Like Dean said at the beginning, there's so many fun Easter eggs in this movie, and one of my favorites is the guns that Wade uses to fight the Sixers when they come into the club. The guns that he's shooting with are guns from Blade Runner. And I'm like, those are
cool.
the guns from Blade Runner.
Cool.
That is so cool.
I didn't notice that.
That is so cool. But onward. That's like one of my favorite
that is really cool
Easter eggs in the movie. Well, that's not true, but that's one of my favorites.
So moving on. So we're in the real world. We're with Wade. He's got his VR headset on, and he gets a message pop up in his VR headset that says Sorrento sends him a message because he's tracked him down. He wants to talk. And so he's like, okay, so Wade, as his avatar, goes to see him in the Oasis. And he basically says, like, he offers him basically the world. He knows he's poor as shit. He offers him a penthouse apartment, $4 million a year plus $25 million if he finds the Easter egg, because he knows he's good. He knows he's got information that nobody else has. He knows. So he's offering him everything he could ever dream of if when he finds the Easter egg, obviously he hands it over to Sorrento. So Wade thinks about it. He declines because he can see through Sorrento's bullshit. Like, Sorrento is saying everything Wade wants to hear, but he's getting it filtered through from someone else, right? Because Sorrento is trying to be like, oh, I'm a gamer, I'm hip, I know pop culture. So every time Wade asks him a question about pop culture to trick him, he's got somebody in his ear telling him the answer, and Wade knows it. And he goes, I don't know who's fucking telling you this, but I know you're bullshitting me. And I was like, oh, thank God. So he basically says no, which is like a lot. Like, if you're poor and have nothing, it's a lot to say no to like $25 million, a penthouse for, like, yeah, that's a lot to say no. So, like, good on him. And it shows, again, character development that, you know, he has a good heart. So anyway, Sorrento doesn't like this. He doesn't like this one bit because he's a bad guy. And so he says, well, I've put a bomb at your place. Now, Wade is not at his place. He's in his van, which is nowhere near where he lives. And so he's like, oh, it's like, no, but I'm not, what? I'm not there. So anyway, Wade, there's this scene where Wade's trying to call his aunt, and then his abusive stepdad answers, says, don't call here again. He's like, no, there's a bomb. So anyway, his whole district basically gets bombed. He sees it, and yeah, it's just like, I mean, like, but look, the aunt and the stepdad, are they really a big loss to the fucking story? I don't care. I mean, he didn't like them anyway. It's different if grandma got blown up and he was really close to her, but maybe they should have made it. I understand they made it so, like, you know, his living situation wasn't great, but they could have made it so that you cared when they blew up his stack that he lived in, because I don't know, for me, I didn't care.
No, I mean, if I look, I think this movie is pretty good, but there are a couple glaring things about it that just annoy the shit out of me. Number one, the amount of power that Sorrento has, and the fact that nobody questions him, even in his own company. There is a lot of things that a fucking spineless dweeb who own a company that basically can do whatever there's a lot of things that they'll allow, but as a company, I'm really pissed that nobody ever questioned his sanity about how he was handling the situation. The thing with Wade's aunt and her abusive boyfriend, I didn't feel anything for them either when they died, and the reason why I didn't feel anything for them is because I don't think that they were set up properly. I think if we would have spent more time with them in the beginning of the movie, it may have been possible that we would have felt something when they actually died. But they weren't really set up at all, and that's why I feel we don't feel anything for them or for Wade when they die.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. So Wade's kind of walking around in a daze, and there's this guy with like tattoos, and he's kind of following him, and you think it's one of Sorrento's guys. And so he basically kidnaps Wade, and you're like, oh, great. So now, okay, fine. And what we find out is it's actually one of Artemis's guys that kidnapped him. And we find out, we finally see who Artemis is. And Artemis is actually played by an actress called Olivia Cooke, who plays Alicent on House of Dragon, Game of Thrones, which is pretty cool. She's an English actress. Again, an English actress doing an American accent. Why? Why do you keep making me watch movies where they do this? Oh, no, wait, The Forest was my fault. I'm sorry. I take that back. It's totally my fault. So anyway, what happens? So basically she says, I kidnapped you because I want to protect you, which is really, really sweet. And so they have a talk, and you see this like chemistry between them and all that. So my question for you is, do you think look, the first time you saw this, were you satisfied at the actress who plays Artemis, or did you think they could have cast someone else?
No, I think, I think the character that they got to play Artemis was really, really good. Her character really, really resonated with me. All her character motivations lined up really, really well. And I really enjoyed that before before she opened Wade to the harsh reality of the universe, Wade was like a child reaching up for pie in the sky. In this case, the pie in the sky would be Samantha or Sam. And I love that the situation that he goes, uh, uh, the situation that he's thrust when Sorrento kills his family, that sort of gives him a little bit more perspective. So when he finally meets Sam in person, he's ready to kind of grow up a little bit and fight the man a little bit more than he may have if his family wasn't just blown up to bits. Although
Yeah.
I do think that that could have been set up a little bit more. The last thing that I'll say is when I was watching this movie today for this conversation, I kept looking at the actress who plays Sam, and I'm like, why the fuck do I know her face? Why the hell do I know her face? And then when you just mentioned, House of the Dragon, I'm like, oh, she's Allison. That's why I know her. That's where I know her from.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so anyway, they're on the rooftop and they're talking, they're chatting, and he kind of goes in for a kiss because and the actors do have really good chemistry. And so he goes in for a kiss, and then it's the weirdest line of dialogue I've ever seen. She basically goes, "Oh my God, I know it." And I was like, I don't know. It was just a weird line of dialogue. I thought, I know what the clue is. Like she's just had an epiphany. So they go back into the Oasis and they go back to the Halliday Library. And they figure out, look, I don't know how they figure out this shit. They figure out that the clue is in the movie he went to see on his first and only date with Kira, which was The Shining. And how she figures it out is because he basically said he didn't take the leap, and in his previous memory he said that he didn't kiss her, but he wished that he did. And so she kind of says, oh, what if the leap is he wished he kissed her at the only date they went on? Which is, again, I don't know, these clues are just a bit whack for me. But what I thought was really cool is they went to the museum and they're like, yeah, can we get the Shining? And the curator, the robot guy goes, yeah, okay. And then they go into the movie and I went, what? You can go into, okay, I'm fucking sold. I'm fucking sold. If you can go into any movie or fucking, can you imagine? Okay, Marcelo, let's go into Dawson's Creek. What the fuck? Let's fucking do it.
Dude,
What?
That would be
Come
so
on.
cool.
That would be so I just went, wait.
Cool.
I went, wait, you can go into any movie or any TV show and there are people that are not doing this? Like, what? Oh my God. We could go into Scream. We could go into like, oh my God, wait a minute. We could go into fucking Star Trek. Come the fuck on.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Oh my God, yeah.
But seriously, when I saw that they were going to go into The Shining, first of all, I just want to say up front, the world that I would go into before going to Dawson's Creek or before going to Woodsboro, I would go visit Sunnydale, man. With like with like a million steaks. I would go to Sunnydale first thing. But with that being said, the whole sequence of them going into The Shining and that the Overlook Hotel was a key location in this movie, I loved every second of the scene. And the thing that I love the most is that of all our heroes here, we got Artemis, we got Percival, we got H, we got Show and his little brother. I can't remember his name. But of all our heroes, H, the big guy, the robot guy, he doesn't like horror movies and he's never seen The Shining. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so much fun. And what he goes through are scenes directly from the movie. He sees the twins. He sees the old lady in the shower. He sees, I mean, the way that they designed this part of the movie is just amazing.
I loved this. This is probably my favorite part of the whole fucking Ready Player One. I love the fact that H was a scaredy cat, never seen The Shining, and so I am in two minds about it because I loved every second of them being in The Shining when the blood came out of the elevator and like you said, the old lady in the shower. So basically he goes through like this door and every single fucked up thing that happened in The Shining is happening to him now. And he's just running, he's scared, he doesn't know what's going on. And I just thought that it was really, really fun and hilarious and just a really just all around fucking awesome scene. So he kind of stumbles back into the hallway where everybody is. This is what I didn't like. And they're like, we've got the key, let's go. Oh. Okay. So I don't... Look, as a directorial thing, I didn't like that decision that we followed H. We should have been following them to try and get the key. Where did they get it? Was it easy? Where was it? Was it hidden somewhere? We don't know. That was part of the whole thing with H was awesome, but that wasn't part of the story. It was just like, oh, we've got the key now. And I'm like, oh, was it hard to get? Like what? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that was, no, tell me.
That was for two reasons. The first reason was a bunch of bullshit, but it was fun bullshit, but it was a bunch of bullshit. Right. First reason was fan service. Second reason, which kind of made sense, the reason that they made H go through all that shit is before H runs into our crew in the hallway, he fucks up the end picture from The Shining, where you see all the people in the hotel. And I think that's the only reason Spielberg chose to go with H instead of the rest of our crew going to get the key, because that's a clue that leads them to something else.
But couldn't one of the other characters have seen it on their way and gone, wait a minute, come here, look at this. Like, I feel like they could have done it another way. And this is a movie about trying to get a fucking key. And so when someone's just got it and you don't know where, like, you know what I mean? It kind of, it's like, oh.
Now that you say that, you from a writing standpoint, you could have basically done the same thing, but have them stay together as a group. Have each one of them go through all this shit when they're together, and have one of them look at the picture on the wall, and that will eventually lead them to the key. But the thing that I would have done, and it sounds like you would have done, is I would have kept them all together.
Yeah, 100%. So I love the scene with H, but I don't like it because it's like I don't know.
As amazing as this movie is and how much fun I was having watching it today, the story plotting in this movie and the amount of things that are just there for a writer's convenience are a little bit strange, and the plotting and the way that our characters find out these clues that lead them to things are a little bit muddled and needed a little bit more work, I thought.
They find every clue so easily. It's easy. That's the issue. Like with Indiana Jones, when he goes searching for an artifact, it's not fucking easy to get it. It's hard. And even when he gets the artifact, getting the fuck out is even harder. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no obstacles. Everything's just easy in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, not to go off track, but the only thing I will say, the first thing that Indiana Jones did, he almost got murdered by a bunch of, by a bunch of force people, and he almost got crushed by a boulder. Yeah.
That was in the first 10 minutes of the movie, which is great. Anyway, so what happened? Oh, okay. So they enter. I love this. Just aesthetically looking, I loved it. They enter a room and it's the ballroom, and there's all these ballroom dancers that look. I instantly said Haunted Mansion. And then Artemis said, oh, he modeled it after the Haunted Mansion. I was like, oh, so if you've ever been on the Haunted Mansion ride, that is my favorite ride at Disneyland. I ride it. Like, I honestly, if I could just ride it for 8 hours straight, I would. I fucking love the Haunted Mansion. So I was really, that was the only thing in the movie that when I saw it, I was psyched. You were psyched at the Blade Runner guns. I was psyched at this. I was like, this is fucking awesome. So it was like zombie ballroom dancers dancing above a green mist dancing in the air, and it just looked really fucking cool. I love this scene. It was my favorite scene. And then Artemis sees Kira dancing with one of the zombies, and it's like, oh, okay. So Artemis thinks that she has to go to Kira. I don't know, I guess. So she starts jumping from fucking zombie to zombie and pulls her out because it looks like Kira's just not having a good time. Pulls her out, pulls her to the side, and then gets the next key with the next clue. Yeah. So I don't know. Did you like that scene? I love that scene. That was my favorite. But just because I like the ride.
Yes, I absolutely adored that scene. I love the way that it's directed when Artemis hops on the mummies and she's moving them around. She's taking their limbs off. She's batting them. I love the way that our main characters' avatars move throughout the Oasis. It's so cool. They look and feel. They look and feel like the way we would. Their avatars move like real avatars to me. I don't know. There was something so fun about it. I just love the way that she did it.
Yeah, it was everything about that scene was freaking awesome. So, Sorrento's men track down the guy that had the tattoo that kidnapped Wade. They track him down, and he leads him straight to Wade, unknowingly leads him straight to Wade and Artemis. Because Sorrento knows he's got the key. He's like, fuck this guy, we need to get him, blah, blah, blah. So the SWAT guys come in, the bad guys come in, and Artemis basically tells Wade, you got to go. I'll stay. But I'll basically buy you some time. And she gets captured. As Wade, this is cool. I like this scene too. As Wade steps outside, he gets confronted by a US postal truck, basically. Or no, I think the truck comes after. I think it's H that is H in the truck when he first sees H in the real world, or is she not in the truck? I can't remember.
She's in the truck because the truck is hers.
Yeah, so she's in the postal, the US postal truck, which is, I thought that was so funny using a postal truck. So he gets confronted by H, but obviously he doesn't know what anybody looks like in real life. So he's like, who the fuck are you? And so she says something and he's like, oh my God, are you H? And it's an actress. It's an actress. It's a girl. And I was like, oh, and I don't know. I thought her character was really fucking cool. And her name is Helen. So H tells him that Sorrento has cracked half of the next code because, like I said previously, when you get a key, somebody else can get it. Like 1,000 other people can go get it, like we discussed before. So one of Sorrento's men cracked it, got the code, because when you get a key, you get a code. And they've cracked half the code, and she's like, come on, let's go. So did you like H in real life? Did you like all the characters, like, as themselves in real life?
Yeah, I did, because I thought that the characters in real life were even cooler versions of their avatars, and I really liked that about I really liked that about this movie. I think that the writers of this movie and Steven Spielberg made the characters so likable that you really jump on board with them almost immediately. And and when you meet Sorrento and when you meet the big corporation that he works for, and when you actually find out what they're going to do to the Oasis if they get control of it, it's really scary, it's really awful, and it's terrifying what they want to do or what Sorrento wants to do to make money. So the fact that we love all these characters and we love how pop culture-y they all are, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mm-hmm.
I love what H says to Percival to make Wade realize that it's actually H. He says, because they have a thing. They go first to the key, first to the egg. So I love that H uses their little thing to sort of identify herself to Wade.
Oh yeah, I didn't catch that at all. But Yeah. I do remember her saying that.
Yeah, that's what she says to sort of make him realize, oh, it's H.
So we're with Artemis in the real world, and she's in basically like an 8x10 cube cell with a VR headset on that she can't remove. And we go inside the OASIS, which is like her VR headset, and she's basically like a worker slave. And if she refuses to do the work, then her helmet gets like zapped. And I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. So after that, Wade stormed into Sorrento's office. And you're kind of thinking, how did he get past like all of it? Because that wasn't shown how he got past all of Sorrento's security. You'll find out why later. But I was like, how did he get fucking... And I'm like, another scene where they don't fucking explain it. So he pulls a gun on Sorrento and he wants to know where Artemis is. And Sorrento is like legitimately afraid at this point. He's got a gun pointed to his head. And Wade, he tells him, you know, this is where she is. Wade leaves the room, then turns into his avatar, and you realize that they're still in the OASIS. So his avatar is pretending to be him in real life. So what they've done is they've hacked into Sorrento's VR thing, and they've made him think that he's in the real world when he really is in the OASIS, which is scary because people can do that. You know, imagine the world has VR headsets and someone hacks into your VR headset and makes you believe that you're actually out in the real world when you're not. That's scary. That's fucking scary. As long as there's technological stuff, there's going to be hackers to fucking hack it. So yeah, that was scary. So anyway, they hacked into the system to make you believe it. But okay, another question: is that scary, or is that fucking scary?
Oh no, that is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. But the thing that is even more terrifying and disturbing as hell is the way that IOI collects debt on people.
Let's take a trip back to the 1700s Britain, where if you stole a loaf of bread to feed your family, you were put on a ship and you were for 3 months, and you would go to a penal colony called Australia. And you would spend out the rest of your life in where there was nothing. It was just desert wasteland. You would spend the rest of your life there for stealing a loaf of bread. So, you know, it's happened. But anyway, Sorrento has cracked half the code. He knows where the key is. He knows where the other key is. So what he's done is he has gotten that ball thing in the beginning, and he's erected it around the place where the key is. So it's like a force field, and only a spell can take it down. And he's done that because he doesn't want anybody else to figure out the clue and to get the key before he does. I don't know where IROC got this shield from. Did I miss that? Did he explain where he got it from? Where he got the shield from?
Yeah, he killed the original gamer who had it, or he destroyed his avatar to get it.
Oh, right. Okay. So anyway, Wade and H, they rescue Artemis, and she is on her way. She basically says, "I'm not going with you. I'm gonna." Oh no! Wait. Let's go back a bit. The way they rescue her is hilarious to me. So they hack into her VR headset and they go, oh, there's a panel above you, pull it off, and then there's a lever under it that literally says pull. And when she pulls it, the doors open. What? What? It's so easy. That was so easy. Why is there a lever in there it's like putting a prisoner in a cell and like putting the key in there with them.
But the thing is, people that work for IOI, working off their debt, most of those people aren't going to be so inventive and so, you know, and so like I'm going to get the hell out of here and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get out of here. I'm sure some people think about that, but I doubt that a lot of them would actually want to go through with it.
No, that's true. But why is that in there? In the first place, it was only in there so like they could get her out easily. I felt like her escape should have been way harder.
Yeah, I mean, I will level with you on that. The placement of the release lever is a little convenient for my money. So so yeah. So I guess we could chalk it up to as another glaring writer's convenience in this movie.
Yeah, it's just like everything in this movie is easy. Everything is easy. And that's why I was like, oh, nothing's hard in this movie. Like they make it look like it's hard, but it's not hard. So anyway, Artemis says they get her out of the 8x10 cube thing, and she says she wants to go to Sorrento's office because she wants to try and take down the force field. So they let her do that. Now Sorrento realizes he's not in the real world. He's in the Oasis. So there's nobody there with guns. There's nothing, and he's like, fuck. So he leaves his office. When he leaves, Artemis gets to the office and basically starts to try and take down the shield. Now, it was said a few times you need a spell to take it down. How does she know how to take it down?
She looked it up. She she looked up she looked up the orb that Iraq got, and she read the specs of the orb.
It's literally that easy.
And how to activate it, and how to activate it, and how to deactivate it. Yeah.
Oh, another thing that's easy. What, she just Googled it? She just Googled how do you take this thing down? I mean, if it's a force field, why would it be so easy to get the spell?
No, essentially she went into, for the sake of this conversation, the Steam store, looked up the orb, and then looked under where it says, she looked under the manual about how to handle the orb.
But I don't
know.
Hold
up 1 second. Wait a minute, hold up. Whoa. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I know how she did it.
Okay.
Iraq stole the orb for Sorrento. And I bet you when Iraq stole the orb for Sorrento, Sorrento asked Iraq to give him the specs of the orb.
Right.
So that's how Sam could look up the specs for the orb when she was in Sorrento's, hamster ball thingy.
But did that happen?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We did not see that.
That's my point. It didn't happen. So if it didn't happen, then it didn't happen. Then how does she know how to do it? Because what you're saying makes sense. 100% it makes sense, but it didn't actually happen.
Yeah, but again, look, what you're saying totally makes sense. But again, I'll have to boil that down to easy writer convenience.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we keep coming back to that a lot with this movie. So anyway, where are we? Okay, so Wade, we're in the Oasis. Wade's avatar is standing outside the shield, and he puts out a call to all VR users in the system, which is basically millions of people, because at the beginning we saw literally everybody is in the VR, uses the VR 24/7. And he tells them Sorrento has put up a force field around the final clue so no one else can get to it. And he's basically wants to amass an army. He's asking people to join the fight against Sorrento. And Sorrento's avatar is standing there and he's like, fuck, is he gonna get people? Is anybody he's fucking shitting himself. And at first, nothing happens. And Parsifal, Wade, is just kind of like, fuck, like that didn't happen. And then Sorrento's like, I knew nobody would come. And then you hear this like rumble and you're like, what? And then you see literally like hundreds of thousands of people running across this field towards where Parsifal's standing, who's in front of this fucking massive, massive force field. And it's really cool because I don't know about every single one, but a lot of the people running towards him are from pop culture. Like, you've got some Halo guys there, you've got some Ninja Turtles in there, like, you know what I mean? Because as an avatar, you can be whoever the fuck you want. And so that was really cool to see all these different avatars from pop culture games, like, basically running in sequence. That was really, really cool. I don't know how much that costs copyright-wise.
Yeah, I really love that moment because that's the moment where the character in this film gets his hero moment, and that's like the rah-rah moment. But the moment that makes me lose my shit is as the millions of people are running towards where Wade is to rally the troops, he fucking puts up above his head he puts up above his head an 80s style boombox, and he starts playing "We're Not Gonna Take It Anymore."
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude. I'm like, dude, let's go. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that shit is a big say anything moment, and I just
Yeah, yeah.
lost my shit. I
Yeah, that
loved it.
was a cool scene. That was cool. That was cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, that whole scene's fucking awesome. So anyway,
And
oh yep.
hold up. And just to go back to what I said earlier, where you said you don't think a lot of the songs that were featured in this movie fit the scenes that they were in. The one point where I sort of disagree with you on that is
Mm.
in this scene. To
Yep.
hear "We're Not Gonna Take It Anymore" come out of the boombox was amazing, and I thought personally that song fit the scene perfectly for this moment.
Yeah, I didn't. Although I
Okay,
like that song,
okay.
I didn't. I would have preferred something grittier. I would have preferred Black Sabbath,
What about some
Metallica,
Metallica or
Poison.
something?
Yeah, Poison, Whitesnake, like something gritty, something with an awesome AC/DC. Like I think
Right.
that would have fit better than like We're Not Gonna Take It. So I didn't, because it was a gritty scene. It was like it was an army called to battle, and it's like We're Not Gonna Take It comes out of the boombox, and I'm like, no, you
Right.
need something. You need guitar. You need drums. You need like a You need
You
yeah. I
need
felt
a
like it.
you need
Yeah.
a you need a master of puppets moment.
You need a Stranger Things moment. That's what you
Yeah,
need.
yeah.
You need an
Yeah,
Eddie
yeah,
Stranger
yeah,
Things
yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Oh,
didn't think that fit at all. But yeah, that's what you needed. So anyway, all these thousands of avatars start trying to take down the shield. They're bombing it. They're throwing projectiles at it. And it's actually really really cool scene. They're just trying to throw anything that they have and it's obviously not coming down but they're there. And basically, I don't think the point is to take down the shield. To me, the point is to show Sorrento, hey, everybody fucking hates you and you're fucked. What did you think? I felt like that was the point.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's the main point. But also, I think the writers and Steven Spielberg were trying to illustrate that people saw how evil, oh, um, how evil the corporation was, and people actually finally uh, uh, did something about it. They basically were told that this is an evil corporation, and if they have control of the evil corporation, they're just gonna kill it. And I love how people like basically said, that sucks, and we are gonna fight for the things that we want
Yeah,
and the things
exactly.
that we believe in.
Yes, I agree. So Artemis gets the shield down. However the fuck she does that. She gets the shield down. I'm not at this point. I'm not even fucking asking questions about how they do anything in this movie. And so all the avatars, the hundreds of thousands of them, charge, and there's an epic battle, kind of like in Endgame, Avengers Endgame. There's an epic battle between these avatars and the IOA. Is it IOA or IOI? The evil
No,
corporation.
it's IOI.
IOI, sorry. So this is epic battle that lasts for, to be honest, a bit too long. Even though it was cool, it lasted, I think it was like 20 minutes, like 15, 20 minutes. Like it was long. It was long. It was too long for me because the movie's already 2 hours and 20 minutes. They could have cut a lot out of this movie, I think, to make it a little bit shorter. But anyway, the battle is epic. There's good guys versus the corporation, thousands upon thousands. It's really cool. And also you get to see more pop culture references, more pop culture avatars. It's just an awesome battle. I thought it went for a little bit too long, but it's very, very cool. You probably loved the battle, as I did. But tell me.
Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I absolutely love
Yeah.
I absolutely love the battle. There are a couple moments where I lost my shit. The first moment where I lost my shit is where because H has been working on a commission the whole movie, and she's actually building the Iron Giant. So when the Iron Giant shows up in the battle, I'm like, oh my god. When Sho gets his courage and finally joins the battle, he suits up in a Gundam suit. I'm like, fuck yeah. But this is there's two moments that just made me lose my shit. When Sorrento gets in a Mecha Godzilla, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, it's Mecha
Yeah.
Godzilla. But
Yeah, that was
the
cool.
point where the moment that I almost cried is when Sho joins the battle. The ship that he uses to get to the battle, I'm like, that is the Serenity from Firefly. Oh my god!
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Are you surprised I didn't know what the fuck that was?
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, I knew that I knew that you weren't gonna know what the ship was, but that
Yeah.
moment I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that would have been a cool moment for you, to be honest. That would have been really, really cool.
Yeah.
So after that, after the epic battle, Sorrento, he's got his guys playing this old school game called, is it Adventure Time or something? It's like, it looks like a game that's like Pong, basically a Pong game. Not back and forth, but it looks like it's like that, like an Atari game or something. So he's got all these guys playing that, and he thinks the goal of the game is to win the game. So one of his minions finishes the game. Nothing happens. And he's like, what the fuck? This must not be the game. And then Percival's, I keep saying his fucking name wrong. Percival is basically saying the goal is not to win the game, it is to find the key and the hidden object. And so he gets to the game and he tries it. So he's playing the game and he finds the key and he finds the hidden object and he wins the game. And then he gets the last key. And as he gets the last key, of course, Sorrento shows up and goes, no, little boy, you're not going to have this. This isn't going to happen. And then he sets off a huge bomb that looks like basically like an atomic tsunami. It's really cool. Like the effects in this movie is like fucking on point. So this atomic tsunami sweeps through the entire Oasis, and every single avatar it touches, it just decimates them. Gone. So every single person, including him, in Oasis has zeroed out. He's booted every single person out of the system, including himself. Because bad guys, they don't like to lose, and if they're gonna lose, they fucking go out in a blaze of glory, which is just like ridiculous. But it's a really, really cool scene watching all the avatars. How they die is they just like go into like coins. It's coins, isn't it? They just puff into coins, which is kind of cool.
Coins,
coins.
Coins or credits or coins. Yeah.
So this is where the hat on the ground comes, setup and payoff comes into play. So we find out Wade is still there. And he's still in his avatar. He's the only one in the VR, in Oasis. And even Artemis, who got booted out, she's like, how the fuck is... Like, everyone's like, how the fuck is he still in there? Like, everybody can see he's still in there. And even I was like, wait a minute. How did he survive? And then he puts his hand in his pocket and he takes out the quarter that the curator, the robot butler, gave him in the beginning, and he flips it over and it says 1 extra life. And I was like, that is cool. That is a gaming reference I can get behind. That is fucking cool. 1 extra life. That's a hat on the ground. That's a setup and a payoff. I fucking loved it. I thought that was fucking awesome. And you're like, oh my God. And so obviously he's got all the 3 keys now. Oh no, wait, before we move on, is there anything you want to say about that scene? Because I thought that scene was cool.
Yeah, no, that scene was absolutely wonderful. And I love in that particular moment that the writers, at least once in this movie, sort of set something up with some sort of satisfaction. Look, I'm not saying that this is the worst movie ever, but I'm learning that although this movie is a really fun time, from a writing standpoint, the way that they go about structuring their narrative and the way that the characters find stuff out is a little bit suspect and a little bit convenient. But with that being said, I still love that moment when Wade realizes that the only reason that he's not booted out of the game is because the quarter that the robot butler gave him was another life.
Yeah, it was a very, 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 very cool scene. So he gets the key and he has 3 keys, and they're really cool looking keys. One of them's like fire, the other one's ice, the other one's, I don't know, something else.
Air?
So basically, what is it?
Air? I don't know.
Air? Yeah, probably. So anyway, in the real world, because he's the only one in the VR thing, and the bad guys are chasing the postal truck that H is driving. So Artemis is in the back because she's her actual self. She's in the back. Wade is in the back, but he's got the VR headset and the suit on. H is driving, and there's bad guys, and it's funny because you keep switching between like the real world and the like the Oasis, and he's trying to put the keys in the lock, but because every time like H turns the truck, his physical body moves, and so his avatar moves, and so he can't get the key in, which I thought was quite funny. And he's just like, could you just like drive normally? And H is like, yeah, you don't know what's going on out here. Like, he's like, I gotta get the key in. So again, Wade puts out a call for help, because when you get booted out of the system, you can just come straight back in to the VR. You just lose all your stats. So it's not like there's a waiting period. So he puts out a call. He's basically saying, I need help. Like the bad guy, Sorrento, he's trying to get me, I need help. Just like he did when he was in front of the force field. So anyway, he gets the keys in. H is driving, and she gets to the stacks where she used to live, where Wade used to live. And Sorrento's guys are basically on her tail, and Sorrento is in one of the cars, and he gets out of the car. And I don't know how I feel about this scene. He gets out and he approaches the van, and then hundreds of people, because Wade's put the call out, surround him. And it's basically like, you're not going anywhere near Wade. You're not doing it. And I love that. I was like, oh, that's really, really cool. And then this is the bit I have the issue with. He pulls out a little, like not a little, like a gun, like a normal sized gun. And he doesn't even point it at anyone. He just holds it, and they just let him. There's hundreds of them, one of him, and they just let him walk all the way up to the van where Wade is basically getting his prize. We'll get to that scene in a minute, where Wade gets the Easter egg. But I just thought, what? Like, what? I don't know. It makes no sense. Like, why? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought it was stupid. He has his one guy with one gun. He's not even pointing it at anyone, and he's surrounded by hundreds of people. Like, it doesn't take, like, they could have all jumped on him. Like, I don't know. I thought that scene was ridiculous.
Yeah, that scene was very, very poorly written because, like you said, Sorrento, for a large part of this movie, or all of this movie, has been this spineless little mousy boy that's hocked up on power. He is such a weak villain, I'm not saying that I didn't like his performance. I didn't like that he was such a weak villain. I mean, the only thing that he cared about was, of course, making his stock price better and making the company make more money. But he is a villain that really is weak and didn't work for me. But although his ineptitude and the way that he was written made him dangerous, because villains who are idiots are often really, really dangerous than villains who have all their marbles in their head and who have an actual plan and who are actually physically threatening.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't think he was the best bad guy. I mean, he fit for the role. Could he have been done better? Yes, but we got what we got. I think he was okay. I didn't think he was the most terrible villain ever. So anyway, now we go into the Oasis where Wade is getting his prize. He's put in the 3 keys, and he walks into a room where Halliday is. And it's Halliday's old bedroom from when he was a kid, and he's in a memory of when he was a kid. So he sees himself as a kid, like playing, like I think it is Pong or some Atari game. And Halliday's talking to him, and he gives him a piece of. I don't know. I didn't get this. So he gives him a piece of paper, and he goes, "If you sign this, you get all my stock for Oasis." And then Wade is like, oh, yeah, you did that. You made a mistake, so I'm not going to do that. And he's like, oh, well, you've just proven yourself worthy. But isn't that the prize? His stock? And wait a minute, hold on a minute. And when he declines, he says, yes, you're worthy. But then in the next scene well, not in the next scene, it's in the next part where Halliday's talking to him, he gives him the Easter egg, which he was talking about at the beginning, which is basically OASIS anyway. So he gets the company anyway. So I don't understand that. I don't get it.
No, I completely get it. That when Percival, was there and he had the opportunity to sign the papers to get the stock, um, uh, Halliday's avatar or Halliday's consciousness was just making sure that the player who won the game actually deserved the actual OASIS. The reason that the avatar offered him all this shit was to find out what was the true intentions of the person who actually won the game.
Right. Oh, so he was trying to say, like, did you do it just to win my company kind of thing?
Yeah. And if Wade's answer was a little bit more down the lines of, oh, I did it just to win your company because I want to sell it off and make $1 billion out of your thing. I don't really believe in the OASIS. I just wanted to make profit. I guarantee you that Wade, that whole thing would have been taken away from Wade.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So anyway, he's won the company. He's won OASIS, and he's still in the back of the postal van. So he takes his VR headset off, and Halliday's partner, who's he played by? What's his face?
Simon Pegg.
The guy from Simon Pegg, Shaun of the Dead. He's played by Simon Pegg. So Simon Pegg says, I'll sign this over to you. And he also says that he is actually the curator, the robot butler from the Halliday Journal Museum, which I thought was cool. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So he's got the company, he's got OASIS, he's got everything, he's got the girl. And I love this part of the movie because it goes a little bit in the future, not much, just maybe like a couple months. He's living in a penthouse. He's living with the girl, Artemis. They're in love. And he said, I decided to close OASIS on Tuesdays and Thursdays. People didn't like it, but I think people need to spend more time in the real world. And I was like, I like that. I would do it more days a week, but I like that. And that's kind of the end of the movie. That's it.
Yeah, look. If you're a gamer, if you're a lover of pop culture, if you're a lover of Steven Spielberg movies, there are so many things in here that just made me smile, just made me laugh, and just made me go, oh my God, I love the fact that I'm a nerd. And also, I love that this game, Jesus Christ, I love that this movie had a little bit something to say about our society, but they wrapped it into a package that was palatable for us to take. And I love that this movie wasn't preachy with its message, because I hate movies that are like that.
Yeah, no, I do too. Anything else you want to say about anything before I move on to the trivia?
Yes, there is two kind of Back to the Future references in this movie that are kind of obscure, and I want to see if you caught them, other than the obvious one.
Yeah, go.
Okay, so the two references are when Percival gets the upgrade on his suit and he's in like the Play Store picking up different weapons and shit. He picks up what they call a Zemeckis cube. Mm-hmm. And when he uses the cube in the nightclub, time rewinds and slows down.
Yeah.
And you also hear a tinge of the Back to the Future theme when he uses it.
Noticed it.
Yes. And here's another one. When Wade is getting ready for his date with Artemis in the club, there's a scene where Wade is trying out different outfits, and H is there trying to tell him that you don't know who this girl is. She could be a giant man or whatever. Behind the wall, behind H, directly on the wall to the right, there is a poster for Mayor Goldie Wilson, and I'm like, oh, that's great. Did you
No,
catch the poster?
no, absolutely
You
not.
didn't, you
No
didn't catch
way.
it?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
no.
okay, okay. But I was
No,
like,
I failed on that one.
that is just so fucking amazing. And I also want to say that the bike that Artemis drives is a bike from Akira.
Oh, cool. I didn't know
Yeah, and
that.
I'm like, oh, look, again, I'm not a anime guy, but I'm a pop culture guy. So I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my god, that is so awesome.
yeah.
And one more thing, one of the toy models that Percival takes out of H's lunchbox when he first takes Artemis to H's workshop is the Galactica thing. Is he has a H has a model of the Galactica from Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah. All right.
I
Cool.
didn't notice much, to be honest.
How cool. You can go to your trivia now.
Oh my god, I should have though. I feel like I'm failing as a pop culture aficionado.
That's
All right.
It's okay.
All right, well that's what I have you for, because you notice all this stuff and you bring it up, which makes
Yeah.
it more interesting.
I guess so, yeah.
So anyway, trivia. Now listen, there was a lot of trivia about Ready Player One. 95% of it was boring. So I don't have a lot of trivia. I always try to get the most interesting facts that people may or may not know of. So I've only got a few because there's a lot of bullshit. Not bullshit. There's just a lot of shit trivia out there about this movie. All right. So Christopher Nolan, Robert Zemeckis, and Peter Jackson were all considered for directors. I think, listen, Robert Zemeckis, yes. Peter Jackson, maybe. Christopher Nolan, no way. What say you?
Christopher Nolan, no way. Peter Jackson, maybe. Robert Zemeckis, yes.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg, hell yes. And the reason why, really quick here before you go on to your next trivia, the reason why I say that is because this book, this film is based on a book. And the book is filled with 100 more times Steven Spielberg's Jesus Christ. The book is filled with the book is filled with Steven Spielberg references up the yin yang, and I like and I love the fact that an author who obviously loved Spielberg growing up had a chance to get his book adapted by his favorite director growing up. I find that to be so awesome and so wonderful.
That's really cool. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
really cool.
With your trivia.
No, that is a really cool fact. Okay, so Michael Keaton, Tom Cruise, and Tom Hanks were all considered to play the role of Halliday. Michael Keaton, yes. Tom Cruise, no. Tom Hanks, yeah. I think.
No, and no. I don't like any of the choices because I feel that those choices would have sort of distracted from the character of Holiday. I thought.
Oh, that's true.
I thought that Rylance did a great job. Yeah, and he was able to really emote Holiday's really uncomfortableness with the actual world. So you really understood him as a character, and you really understood why he did. You really understood why he created the OASIS.
Yeah.
I feel.
No, I agree.
And also, I feel if those other actors were in the movie, I think that I would have seen them rather than the character.
Yep, I agree. I agree with you. Okay, so Elle Fanning was considered for the role of Artemis. She would have done a good job, I think.
That would have been interesting for sure.
Yeah, Elle Fanning is good. And the last bit of I don't know if this is trivia or not, but apparently they're gearing up to do a Ready Player 2.
No, it's not trivia. They are gearing up to do a Ready Player 2. It's been in production for a while now, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
Is it in production hell? Is it in development hell?
Yeah, production hell, development hell, turnaround, what have you. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. All right. I'd love to see the second part. Yeah, that would be cool. I'm going to wrap it up. We have something special for you. I don't know. Is it special? It's special for me. So on next week's podcast, we have 1939's The Wizard of Oz. I'm very, very excited to do that. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, if you would like to request us review a movie, you can email us at themixtapepod@aol.com. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoy all our episodes, and I hope you'll come back next week for The Wizard of Oz. And please remember, never forget that if somebody is kind enough to make you a mixtape, that must mean that they really love you. The Mixtape Podcast is a Balloonhead Productions presentation.